Boom. Hi. Hello, folks. Welcome to the... Wow. Okay, we're going to have one of those startups. Hi, folks. Welcome to the Historical Fencing Guild's weekly live stream as we get through the danger virus. Woo. My net is spottier than usual. That's terrible. Okay. Wow. Sorry about that glitch, folks. My computer just was not having it. Hi, I'm your host, Nick Talker. This is the Historical Fencing Guild's weekly live stream. I actually have organized stuff to talk about. I am excited. Why am I excited? Why? In the world of sword sports and other interesting things, am I excited? Well, amongst other things, I got a bit of a present in the mail, which is the greatest question for any human. What's in the box? So we're going to talk about that, but I'm going to wait just a bit to keep folks hanging on. Before we go, I want to thank both my patrons, guys, Cindy Cat, Steve Agosto. You guys especially, you're what keeps me able to do this. I know I have a lot of stuff in the works that will be coming your way. I have some real neat surprises, and good things are coming for the people who've been good to me. If you like what I do, please consider supporting or hopping on Amazon and buying a copy of The Simple Sword by Nicholas Talker, which is the easiest, fastest way to learn how to sword fight from a very basic level. Now, also, if you at all like what I'm doing, that like button, there's a little thumbs up at the top of my screen over here. I'm not sure where it is on yours, but please mash that so that YouTube understands that what I'm doing has some semblance of value. Obviously, I am not monetized. I don't make enough from I don't get enough from YouTube to be able to do this. So we're going to talk shop, and I'm going to, as usual, hop on. If you want to ask me any questions, please fire away in the comments. If you if you're one of those people who, like me, watches YouTube on a big screen, and you know me, by all means, comment through Facebook Messenger. And I will, as always, be happy to address your questions, even if I don't like that question. But we do have a lot to discuss because, amongst other things, I am really excited about something I heard. Now, not all of you know this, but there is a company called is it Alchem Armory? Let me look them up. The name is Alchem Inc. Fencing. Okay, they've been around for 40 years, to the best of my knowledge. They the mid realm when I was SCA did not like their gear. There was some quality issues, so I hear that. But I also know that it's a little lighter grade stuff, so maybe lighter is good. They've done something, folks. They've done something I find exciting. They are making alehouse daggers. Alehouse daggers? Why? Nick? Those of you who know me and longtime friends and supporters know a sword has to be very much a specific nature for me to be interested in purchasing it. I have long since passed the it's a sword buy it stage, and it has to either have history or it has to have meaning or meet certain traits. And my favorite sword, quote unquote, for carry and use, like this is my baby. I love this thing. It is a 24-inch Spanish bilbo. and I adore the sword. The grip is tiny. I can fit two of my hands inside the cup. Bosh! And I can just spill water all over any number of things on my desk, including my scanner. It's been one of those days. Hey, babe! Can I have a towel, please? Anyway. Sorry for the microphone check, folks. But the neat thing about this particular thing, sorry, I hope that didn't get into my scanner. I just put my drink all over my scanner. I'll just see what I ruined later. No point wrecking the episode. And I thought this week would be less exciting than last week, but I haven't stabbed myself, so we're doing good. Anyhow, this particular weapon has a measured, if I can, 1 second. I'm having some fine muscle problems today all of a sudden. This is fun. But as you can see, at exactly, let me get where the camera can see it. Maybe 20. There we go. 24-inch blade. I can draw this. The grip is tiny to the point that there are some rumors that this wasn't intended to be a sword, but is actually just a half-size wall hanger. I guess I'm half-size because this fits. Now, why does this matter? What does this have to do with alchem fencing? Well, 24 inches in a blade, I have no idea. Oh, there's the sheath, is a very, very strange size. I'm going to drink some of this because it just went AWOL all over the place. You can't really find it very often. I mean, you can get a 17.5-inch plexi dagger. You could get down to about 30-inch foil. But this 24-inch, and certainly not in anything you could actually, feasibly cut with. Alchem has made a 24-inch, very similar to one of these. It's like a slightly wider at the base, fairly rigid flexi dagger. And it's threaded in 6x1 metric. Why does that matter? 6x1 metric. Now you're just throwing numbers out. 6x1. So 6 threads per 1 centimeter. Metric is the thread size. That is the standard thread size you usually find on commercial fencing gear. So, if I were to pull out my trusty 30 and unthread it for you, just for a second, you're going to see that it has a slight bevel, and then it is threaded. They use a tap. They use a die, not a tap. A tap is what threads the inside. So if you want to thread something like this guy, there you go. Use a tap. Use a die, which is this big hexagonal thing with handles, and it grinds the threads on. Why is that important? Well, one, your dear swordmaster, friend, colleague, and sometimes mentor, the dashing, roguish, hobbitish fellow at the other end who's just spilled orange Mio all over my place. Apparently, that's what I get for picking a non-caffeinated beverage to try to do the Fencing Guild show with. Has experience threading these. Somewhere I even have a tap and die in this, and I will probably acquire another because my custom tools were all ruined in the flood. Which is why I don't have a new camera right now. I had to choose between replacing my Dremel and replacing my video camera. And if I'm going to do videos. Wow, I'm going to be oiling everything on here. I'm going to need to have something to do videos about. Therefore, I'm going to be making riggings. But these alehouse knives, which you can find at Alchem Inc. So ALCHEMINC.com / I believe alehouse.htm will bring you to that link. And I'll try to remember to throw that in the gobbledygook at the end, in the description. Why is that important? Okay. I've said for years that for most of how I fight, this is the single most custom, comfortable scale blade. And to all of you guys, this is essentially a short sword, even for me. It is a little longer than my arm. This is about a 30 on most people. I would about give my 2 eye teeth to get my furry little hobbit hands on 2 of those. But I have to do quality check. So I will be saving up or finding other ways to earn at least the 55 for a blank sword. I have contacted Alchem to ask if they will put, because they do different Spanish hilts, a bilbao on it, or a small bilbao. I'm not sure if they'll even make it. And if they won't, friends, it's getting cool, and I really, really need to break out my forge and set some stuff up. So I may just knock out some sexy riggings and order the blades. So that's what I say. I have exciting things coming up. Look into them. If John Miner gets on, I hope he can say what he has to say about this. And if anybody else is watching, pipe in. Tell me what you think. I have not had dealings personally with Alchem, so I am rather excited. This is a very specific length of weapon I've been looking for a very long time. And because it's much lighter weight, theoretically it will be easier on the old damaged wrist, which is not happy with me. You can still see the red mark from me having to wear my brace at work. I had to take it off because it was a little too tight. But, so that's part of the news. I really do. I'm glad to see companies going in. Now, I've mentioned ale knife, and an ale knife is a long knife, short sword, traditionally with a basket hilt, often worn in twos, and used in tavern brawling kind of situations. They're very indoor capable. In some cases, the heavy wrought iron of a basket hilt was considered the primary weapon, and the swordy bit was the secondary. So what that's going to tell you about the way the weapon would handle is that there's a lot of right weight right here and not much out here. That's going to make the tip actually relatively light and delicate, because the point of balance has a lot to do with how a weapon moves, the finesse of the weapon. Now, from what I have seen about the ale knife, and let me see if I can get a bigger picture. This is it on a rigging that's a little thick. I'm not really fond of. It looks like they put a swelling to the hilt, but let me see if I can. This is not my picture. This is their advertisement. But do you see that piece of? That's a slice of fried gold, friends. It looks stout, but it looks light enough and possibly comfortable enough for yours truly to have a wonderful time. So I'm hoping that as finances rattle, possibly if we ever get a tax check, I've all but given up on the concept of a stimulus check, I might just get 1 or 2 of these to review. I should be able to write it off because I'm reviewing it for you. I mean, the fact that I want one has little to do with it. But you should always, if I'm going to purchase something, I should purchase it for review. There we go. Anyway, so that's my big excitement, and I'll probably talk about it more once we get more people on. I am fully aware of what day today is. And if I said that the anniversary isn't hitting me, I'd be lying. But right now, I don't think focusing on the grief side of things is a good idea. For those of us who went through it, 2020 feels a little bit, it feels for the part of the nation that, at least in my experience, that wasn't close to New York. A lot of 2020 feels like a lesser version of September 11th that just doesn't stop. And I've only got one viewer, and I appreciate you sticking around for this because I'm getting mildly sentimental. But I don't think there's any justice to be had, in letting people who wish to inflict fear on us create a fearful society. And if you feel we have or not, that's up to you. I'm not going to go to that because that's way out of my way out of my lane and my line on this channel. But I'm not going to give them the satisfaction of mourning and aching. I figure I'm going to look at instead of, that side of things, I'm going to look at the people who helped, okay? Because that's not what gets talked about, right? If there's a disaster, America was at its finest because we rose up and we took care of our own, okay? A lot of the efforts to bring in first responders from all over the nation, to care for each other, to secure each other when everybody didn't know what was going on, wasn't the government or anybody else telling us to do it. We, as Americans, took care of our own. And it did for at least a couple days there. Race didn't matter as much. Religion didn't matter as much. That changed rapidly. A lot of things didn't matter. We mattered. And America got up. In old parts, we went out to cut fence and sort some things out, and we did, with extreme prejudice. But right now, the helpers, the people who came together, that's what we need now. We need that spirit. And I'm not talking, I don't care about the politics for the sake of this conversation. I am aware of current events. And I know why all parties are doing what they're doing. But right now, the people who have the physical and mental capacity, the emotional wisdom to come together and go, we got to be right by each other. That's what needs to happen. And yes, I train in weapons. I have an armory of edged weapons and trainers surrounding me to the point where I knock my own beverage down. But I teach the sword so that people can fight the internal demons. Defeat the fears that only they can see. That's what I'm about. That's what we need to be about. Our enemy is not flesh and blood. Our enemy is an ideal. It's hatred, it's bigotry, it's cruelty in any form. And I'm going to keep calling for people to love and rise above. And we are joined by the lovely Cindy Kemp, and I'm going to pull right up out of that mood because while it needed to be said, and for the folks who missed it, catch it in the review. It's a pretty good bit of philosophy there. Hi, Cindy. We've been talking about something cool that came out, and that I'm very excited about because, as you know, I got a message here. Let me see. Okay, it's not related to this. My favorite sword that I own for practical use, which sounds ridiculous, of swordiness is my bilbo. My Spanish, it's a knockoff version of a Spanish text. Some people call it broadsword, some people call it straight saber, some people call it short rapier. This guy, 24 inches. Well, it's also known as an ale knife, as I said earlier. And since we have the viewer, thank you. And I'm going to thank you for the like, because I'm sure that like was used to me. A company by the name of Alchem has made essentially 24-inch rigged like this. So I will be saving up to to acquire at least the blade, if not get a custom rig as close to this as I can handle, so that I can review it. I would love at least two of them. One, so that they can fight against each other. And two, guys, you may have forgotten this in the age of nobody around to fight, but I do love to dual wield, and those are very nice company swords. And because they're modeled after ale knives, which are too long to be sword knives and too short to be swords, usually with basket hilts, they were literally a barroom brawling weapon, a weapon of self-defense, worn in pairs, essentially brass knuckles with a short sword coming out the top. Who doesn't love that? And the point of balance with that would make them very, very, very agile. Case of Rapier is one of my favorites. Case of Dagger, which wasn't even recognized as a style like this. I actually have a very pretty, a little bit longer wide blade dagger from Zen Warrior that I used to pair off against this. Was one of my favorites, but was too short. And I do love. So I have to figure out where my weapons are. My 30. This old 30 is great. I need to clean it up and repaint this Black Beauty. But it was almost and sometimes too long for what I really wanted, which sounds ridiculous. Because this, guys, when I talk about a sword length being right, it's dead. It's almost dead center. Okay, a 34 is pretty much bread and pudding for me, but brace these two dudes. Oh, glorious. So I will be looking at Alchem. I will be watching them and saving up. I would have ordered it now, but of those of you who do know, I, a while ago, suffered a rather unpleasant flood because in the process of moving, the drain got covered by some of the boxes. And we had a flood, and it didn't drain, and it rusted out and ruined, unfortunately, a lot of my specialty tools. So my tap and die, some of my blacksmith stuff, a lot of my finer, odd tweak tools got rusted beyond valid use. And between that and my main Dremel tool actually getting crushed because a table failed and an anvil fell on it, I have been without some key components in what I do, which is why I've been kind of limited in my crafting. I didn't really mind because, you know, the heat of the summer. I don't do heat. But, temperatures broke out here in the lovely land of Indiana. You know, nebulous. If you basically throw a dot somewhere in the corn, you'll probably find me. Is it my natural habitat? Absolutely not. Do I make it work? Sure. But I recently had to replace that. And I took the money that I had, and actually from you guys, the wonderful patrons, I was able to order a new, better Dremel kit. So I can use that for the crafting of riggings, because I want to do not just, you know, standard riggings, but I still have the double foil project, and I want to rig them potentially really nice. I want to do some nice work. I love practical and quick work, you know what I mean? I love this my small sword. This guy's great fun at for a modded tool to try to get a poly trainer that would do what I want. I still need to mod it. I may have to bevel it more. I haven't quite decided. But again, I did all this beveling with hand tools. And with the damage in my hand, I need to start taking it a little easier. I'm starting to use things like electric screwdrivers and other adaptions. And as much as it occasionally stings my pride, I've spent my life helping everybody else adapt to their needs. So it's time I listen to myself. But I'm going to be trying to get one of these rigged up in a way I can fence with it. Preferably two, possibly more. Because, if I fall in love, my dream is to find something either fencery like that or something that would be more like this in unmodified. I don't want to have to fix it. Under 40 for sure, possibly lower. In the 20 line, I would love it. I'd save up and buy about 10 of them and make them standard for training. I have lots of really good offhand recommendations for using poly trainers. By poly, I mean polypropylene or nylon, extruded nylon, mind you, or HDP, guys like. I'm trying not to knock anything over again, but like this happy little saber I made. And yes, now Jim made some. If you go back and look at the Honed in HDPE contest we did right before everything went to pot, Jim made some gorgeous gear. This was me trying to make something. I have too much belly swell right here. The back strap needs to be narrowed down in gun terms anyway. For high specifically need to shape the hilt. But it's close. And again, things like this, I just need my grinding tools. So, real soon I will have that. It might be what's in the other box. But this is coming up. So I mentioned the link for Alchem. They're sponsoring me. Actually, I've never dealt with them. I've heard dubious things from the SCA about them, but that was many years ago and in the SCA. So I need to. The Mid-Realm is a little funny about heavy rapiers, heavy blades. They don't ever use epées. They use schlagers and up. So it might be totally functional against lighter weapons. I really need to play with one to give you my opinion of what I think about it. And if they work, it's going to be, geez, guys, it's going to be like Christmas and Halloween snuck out and, gave birth to a beautiful little quasi-goth, like November baby. I don't know. It would be gorgeous. So once I get that gear, I will be doing some other things. The other thing I have today, as a reminder, is this box. What's in the box? Well, I will tell you guys. I don't know. I'm going to see. Hello, Steph. Oh, my. Guys, you're coming in. And you keep missing. Oh God! Well, you see me talk about it on the guild lists. That Alchem ale knife. Is it a head in a box? It would be a very small veil, very flat head. No, what this is was upon hearing that I had lost my neck knife, which has now made me a journey where now I currently own like 6. Our dear friend, Mr. Clausen, a supporter of the channel, said you need something different, and he ordered me this to review. And it is a knife. It's supposed to be a neck knife. Now, why another neck knife when I've really enjoyed this? And I have a bit of an update on this that could be disappointing, but it just shows how much I use things. It's got something, so I have to talk about it. But I want to give him a chance to be here to see it. So I'm also making an item frame for the hello. So let me check. I got a message. Okay, I'm gonna check something. But so I would like, especially you, Steph. And the reason I'm mentioning you is Stephanie is the one person I have trained who has a shorter. Thank you for the second like, folks. Please don't be afraid of that like button. If she's the only person with a shorter reach than I have, so a 24-inch rapier like this would actually be just about perfect. And the only thing that kept me from being like, this is the perfect sword for you, and going all Ollivanders on it, is yoink, this is mine, I'm not giving it up. And I don't get that way about things. So this is mine. I loves it. But I know Stephanie wanted to get into the metal fencing like Trelane and I have done substantially. I know Jim has gotten into it a bit. And when things get back together, I can't think of a more wise way to social distance than with stabity bits. It's just a matter of the side effects, and we have other things going on I don't talk about on public forums. Just, I'm dealing with some stuff. Yay. But look into that. Go to Alchem. Look at that. The ale knives. They have a main gouge rig that looks interesting, but I don't think I want a main gouge. I'm going to try to hold out for a rig I really like, at least in more of a small sword format, because I really need my keyhole grip. And if I'm going to chase a dream, I'm going to chase it all the way. I'm tired of half-assing it. So, we are, let's see, what else is going on? Apparently there's going to be a lot of period pieces coming up. What do I mean by that? The Bridgertons are Victorian. There are a few more. Starting to see the rumblings, and a new Sherlock Holmes featuring my man Robert Downey Jr. Ooh. So I'm a little excited. Yes, I have very, very short arms. I have short arms. I have pretty short legs. I'm a hobbit, Cindy, and I'm sure you have longer arms than I do. And honestly, just having seen pictures and such, I would say this would probably fit you really well. And if you guys are interested, I had a lot of people, where do I get this? Well, obviously you can't buy it, but it is running about $20 unmodified as a gin trainer through Amazon. And it comes, so you know what you're looking at. Rigged, woo, awesome. With a guard like this, and it's smooth and has a little detail. The detail was broken originally by a gentleman by the name of Lendy, who has left the guild, as people sometimes do. And I modified it out. I added just a chunk of threaded stock, and I made this work. Now, if you are looking for a lightweight trainer of a sorty nature that, even with a piece of HDP that you'll have plenty left over for other good projects, and the nuts and bolts to a self-tapping screw to tap it in, some black tape just for aesthetics. And one of these, you're going to find an agile weapon for under 30 and a couple of, depending on how much time you put into it, anywhere from a half hour to a couple hours of construction. But really, you can't beat that for low-cost entries. Now, Steve, we have that third like, and I got a message from the amazing and talented Steve. This came in the mail. I have not opened it yet. It's so wibbly. Yes, Steve, it is. Now I told Steve I would unbox this knife live. At least I think I did, and if not, surprise! And it says it's by Cool Hand, and the box has it's very plush feeling, although Amazon beat the tar of it. Steve says, fingers crossed it doesn't suck. I doubt it will, but this knife has a certain very special James Bondian trait, and that is that, to the best of my knowledge, it is non-metallic. Non-metallic? Why? Whoa! It's eager! Okay. It came in this baggie, and it's all looped up. It has this little thing. I'm going to cover the QR. Stay cool. Sign up now and use the coupon Stay Cool. Evergreen Sources. And I have a little QR code. And I assume that's to buy other cool things like this. Now, see, I like this. Okay, they made me happy already. They've made me happy on a couple counts. The first count is I'm a paracord neck knife guy. But you'll notice I use one of these as the closures. This is standard with Gerber. I have bought others to replace them if when need be. This is choke prevention. You need to keep that in mind. You want your knife to be incredibly stable, and I'm actually going to take this off because I'm going to need it. But you also want your knife to come off if jerked, so you can't be like corroded easily if you fall down a hill or whatever, or somebody gets all hateful. Well, this one, you have two options. This gave me a knot, so I will be acquiring another one of those pull things. That's fine. But it came with this happy little card, dude. So what is it? I'll have to look and see what they have in code. It came with the chain. So if I wanted to run the chain, I have metal allergy, so the chain isn't going to happen. Here's the knife itself. I cannot at first describe how light this is. This is monstrously light. It weighs nothing, like maybe. Well, the string is heavier than it, if that makes any sense. An ounce. It looks like it's got custom Kydex sheet. While very simply shaped, they did a good job sealing it. The tie downs are nice and thick. This is good in case you want to modify it to attach it to a molly system. There's no hibbly-jibblies. It's skeletonized frame. It is ultra smooth, okay? Now, this is carbon fiber, and my cane is not here. It's out in the living room. But it's just like my cane. It's interesting because it has the same, you try to get the light effect. But this is very, very smooth. It's a skeletonized tang. For those of you who saw the thing on your tang types in the okay. It sounds stupid, but you have to do little things. It seems very tight in the sheath, but a little bit of click and it comes out. Okay. Wow. That's unbelievable. Okay, first off, sheath, very sturdy, nice little Kydex. We've covered the sheath. This is interesting. Again, I gotta look at the way the light, it's almost like Damascus plastic. That is like oddly gorgeous. It is extremely small, and because it is made of carbon fiber, there's no feeling to this. What I mean by that is there's no it's almost non-existent in your hand, and the grip is almost too small for even my tiny hands, which is saying something. Huh. Well, let me see here. What's this? Oh, these are my notes from a couple weeks ago. And it got wet when my drink decided to go insane. So I'll try to find a dry spot. Let me give it the old, oh, okay, that's sharp. I did not expect that. Let's see. Now, this is a crumbly piece of paper, but That's okay. This is interesting because it almost has a bite to it, but it does tear nice. Okay, it feels quite stout. I might be able to break it if I pried on it with the intent to break it, but I'm not sure. Carbon fiber is an amazing material. I don't know about re-edging it. What I love is this is completely elf safe. And this actually, I'd be revisiting an old universe I wrote about 20 years ago, never published, but I kind of working on a sequel, and then we'll see. This is interesting, Steve. It's very light, but the grip's still positive. I have, for something as small as this is, I have no fear if you edge it, use fine grained sandpaper. Thank you. I had a feeling it was something like that. It's still pretty. I mean, believe it or not, I've had synthetic knives before. They were much clunkier than this. This is pretty much sorcery. This is techno magic, folks. I can't. It's really interesting. I mean, like I said, I'm going to have to put another stopper, but I have means. It's fairly positive in the grip. Not the most positive, but also not the most loose. Just I'm all right. I can tell I'm going to have to flip it around, okay? Because I usually use a right-hand draw, but it pulls nice. I'm going to have to hike around with it. I'm a little worried about losing it. Adhesively, exactly. And this is fascinating. This is like, Steve, if you could send the link where you got this, just because I think people will be interested. And I'd love to know the make, model, and I'll do a separate